Okay, here we go again. In the backyard on the swing. What I figured I'd do here with this whole thing is I'm not going to just go chronologically year by year of my uninteresting life. I'll just jump around a bit. I guess it'll go forward in time. What I was going to do here today was talk about when I was a nightclub singer in Turkey. In 1973, I had been in Israel for about 4 or 5 months on a kibbutz. I'd gone to Cyprus on a boat where I irrigated citrus for several months on a farm, and then left there and took a boat to Mersin, or Turkey, the southern coast of Turkey. Hitchhiking, as always, from there, not on the boat. And I headed up the coast of Turkey on my way to Istanbul, and which was, I looked at the map, that was today's world, that'd be a 7 or 8 hour drive. I remember catching a hitch with 4 what seemed like middle-aged or older guys. I was in my 20s, so they seemed old, but we're drinking it up and eating feta cheese and bread, and I hung out with them, if I'm not mistaken, pretty much the whole day. They took me all the way to Antalya, Turkey, which is on the Turkish Med. There I am, I'm bearded, tanned from being on the kibbutz in Israel, working in the fields. And I was pretty grizzled looking. There's a picture accompanying here, a few that will show that. I ended up walking into a club on the coast of Turkey. The Club Playboy it was, not the Playboy Club, but called the Club Playboy. I remember sitting down in their terrace restaurant bar. This was actually a small hotel as well. And I carried a traveling chess set with me when I was traveling in those days, a little magnetic thing, and I played some chess. I wasn't anything great, but those were the times. With Fisher and Spassky, I was interested in chess. Anyway, I sat down and ended up playing a game of chess, not on my board, but on a regular board, with what I came to realize or learned was the owner of the club. We played chess, maybe a game or something, and at some point after we had finished, he asked me, "Can you sing?" And having grown up around a piano, which is part of another story with my family, I'd loved to sing and could sing, not that great, but anyway, I love to sing. I was sure. He says, "Be back here tonight for an audition." I came back that night going, hey, and I'm with a backpack, and met there with a band of 3 Turks, who had a band that played for the club. And I don't remember anything about the audition, or even if I really sang. Anyway, the owner told me, "You're hired. I want you to sing with our band every night." They had a club, dance floor, and all this. "You'll also work with Suleiman in the kitchen, and we'll give you room and board." And I said, "Okay, I'll do that. I'm going to sing in a nightclub." So we practiced a little bit with the band. They spoke not one word of English. All they could say were the names of bands. And I began that night. First, they took me into town. Antalya is a big, big town. I have no population. But they took me into town to the bazaar and proceeded to outfit me, because I just had my old dirty hippie clothes. And They put me in a pair of beige slacks, a black silk shirt, which I had to keep open to the navel, they said, and stuffed me into a pair of size 10 shoes, patent leather shoes. There were no 11s in the country, apparently. And I began to sing that night. Are we going on with this in the rain? Right. Well. Started raining, so we moved inside. So I'd been to the bazaar where they had outfitted me. And then that night, we may have practiced a day, I don't know. Anyway, I sang with this band who didn't speak any English, and we sang the two songs I remember. I did one set with them every night. There was a dance floor, and I, of course, wrote home to my parents, I'm singing in a nightclub in Turkey. During the day, I hung out with the guys on the beach or in the kitchen, supposedly helping, and at night I sang for 10 days. That was my career. We sang Fly Me to the Moon and A Hard Day's Night. Two that I remember. I think there was a third. But when I sang, the Turks would get on the dance floor and dance, and they would dance. I was standing in front of the band, and they would dance around me, and the custom there was to drop bills as tips above your head. You pick them all up after the show or after the song. Anyway, I did that for 10 days, and then the 10th day, 9th or 10th day, they had a big party at the club for the Turkish Airlines. Had some sort of feat there where they had, as I remember, 500 people or so, all sorts of those employees. I don't know what it was. Anyway, that night, while I was singing or hanging out, someone broke into my room in my little cabana that I had there and took some of my stuff, but most importantly, took all of my traveler's checks, American Express traveler's checks. Some people might not know what those are today, but they were. You went to the American Express, you gave them money, they give you checks that if you lost them, you could get the money back, which is what happened to me. So there I was without a dime now, and the only way to get my money was to go to Istanbul. There was no American Express in Antalya, and so I got on a bus. My buddies or whatever, they put me on a bus, bought me a ticket. I had no money, and took the overnight trip via bus to Istanbul. I mean, it was a long one, and it went up over the mountains, and I had, as I said, no money, but the people on the bus, here was this American with a backpack, and even though nobody spoke English, I buddied up with everybody. Anyway, I remember them stopping in the middle of the night at a mountain pass restaurant. It was like 2 a.m, and they bought me dinner. And when it came to the table, what I was given was a half of a goat's head that had been boiled, and the main aspect of that goat's head was to eat the brain. I was starving, but all I could get myself to do, I'm ashamed to say, was pick meat off the face and eat some bread. Anyway, after an all-night trip, I ended up in Istanbul. I had no money, as I said. I persuaded a hotel. It was a weekend. Everything was closed. I had to wait until Monday. I persuaded a hotel to let me stay there with no money until I could get some, and which I was there several days, just holed up in my room reading. And on Monday, I went to American Express and found out I had to get police reports, and went all over town that day getting at least a police report, back to American Express, where they paid me out my dollars, which probably was 150 or 200 bucks at that. And with that, after being in Istanbul 3 or 4 days, I left on a thumb, headed out towards the west, towards Europe, towards Denmark, and then on back to the States. Anyway, that was my career as a nightclub singer in Turkey. And you can see from the pictures that accompany this that I did not look like a nightclub singer. I looked like what I was, which was a hippie or pseudo hippie. Thank you.